about the future that make you glad to wake up in the morning because you can't wait to see what happens next. And that's the future that SpaceX wants to bring to you.
And the market can't wait to see what happens with the price, indicated to make it the 6th most valuable player on the NASDAQ 100 as and when it joins that benchmark. Yahira Anand, you're at the NASDAQ. What are you watching?
It seems like we're getting closer and closer to that first trade, Caroline. We've gotten a series of indications, and they've continued to edge slightly lower as they continue to work through the price discovery process. The latest indication is $155 a share. That is up 15% from the $135 IPO price and implies a valuation of $2 trillion. That means SpaceX would still rank among the most valuable companies in the world, more valuable than the likes of Meta, Saudi Aramco, and even Tesla itself.
Bloomberg's Yahira Anand back throughout the hour, every blow by blow from the NASDAQ. SpaceX also recently unveiled a detailed look at an AI data center satellite SpaceX plans to build. It's a big development in the final days that drove this historic IPO. The record-breaking $75 billion market debut is imminent. Bloomberg's chief space correspondent Lauren Grush is with us, and still with us, Christian Garrett, 137 Ventures managing partner, investing partner, one of the sort of long-term investors on the cap table at SpaceX as a private company and now as a public company. Lauren, out of this world, right? The whole point here is that SpaceX wants to get Starship right so it can deploy data centers in the form factor of a satellite. We have basically what are renderings that Elon Musk shared with us the other day. Explain the basics of this. I know you don't have a degree in astrophysics, but...
Well, I've been covering the company long enough. I hopefully have picked up some stuff along the way. No, but you said it. Starship is key to all of this, right? So originally, it was debuted as the vehicle that is going to fulfill SpaceX and Elon Musk's dream of sending people to Mars, and that's still the goal. But in the same time, they're also putting all of their hopes and dreams on this rocket as well. It's going to be responsible for launching much larger upgraded Starlink satellites, and then also it'll be crucial for sending humans to the moon for NASA, and then of course it'll be the key that sends these data center satellites into space. So that definitely has to work, and it's kind of been a rocky road of development up until now. It's also meant to be the following now as SpaceX as a public company.
And we follow the price indications. SpaceX shares now indicated to open at $150 as we stand 11% above its IPO price. And Christian, that's an enormous win for your venture fund and for the very early bets you took in this company. Does it give you any anxiety that the business model just gets even bigger and bigger and bigger? I mean, talk to us about the orbital data centers and how swiftly you really think that can get going and almost them piece by piece stress testing the potential of that.
Well, I think historically the company has always set very, very aggressive and ambitious timelines and goals. And at times they've exceeded them. At times things take a little longer, but they've always delivered on what the ultimate goal and outcome was. And whether that was getting to partial reusability, whether that was building and launching the Starlink constellation, Starship's development timelines, figuring out the physics and engineering around the Raptor engine. And so this is just another example where they've, in my opinion, some of the best engineering teams in the world are at this company, and they have high conviction on their ability to deliver on this, and they've set timelines to start launching these things within the next couple of years. And so I think historically the data has always shown that the company is always right, and sometimes they're early, sometimes they're late, but they are always right on these things, and I think that's a fair bet to make again here. And I think we're going to see fairly soon the build out start happening.
The plan is as early as 2028 for orbital data center deployment. That was in the prospectus. I think what Christian's hinting at, but people phone me and say, is they see it happening sooner. But it's highly analogous with Starlink. So I think a lot of value, Lauren, if you just catch up the Bloomberg Tech audience on the scale of Starlink today, that's not a space-based data center, but it shows their competence in deploying satellites in constellation at scale.
Absolutely. And when SpaceX was first saying they were going to do Starlink, with the numbers that they were saying, I mean, they they had projected at first a 12,000 plus constellation, and now they have over 10,000 satellites working in orbit. And I think a lot of us were kind of wondering how that was actually going to play out. And then look, now they are operating this massive system. They are the world's largest global satellite operator today. So I think they do have that advantage in being able to take the experience that they have from building and operating that Starlink system, and they will apply it to this AI data center satellite. And even Elon Musk said when he unveiled that design for the data center satellite, he thinks it actually will be easier to design for. I don't know about that necessarily. I mean, if you look at those solar panels, those are pretty big solar panels, and they've also talked about launching up to 1 million satellites. That is a lot. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I do think it does pose some engineering challenges. But as Gwen said earlier, SpaceX likes to tout that they just take the impossible and they make it late.
Gwen
so
Shotwell, President and COO at SpaceX. Bloomberg's Lauren Grush, thank you very much. Christian Garrett of 137 Ventures stays with us. This is Bloomberg Tech, Friday, June 12th, 2026. SpaceX's IPO, the biggest in history. Trading is imminent. SpaceX hasn't even started trading, and Wall Street is already publishing price targets. New Street Research, quick out the gate, initiating with a buy rating and a 165 target price. The firm's valuation case leans heavily on the businesses that are already making money in space and how that cash gets funneled into AI. Here's New Street's Pierre Ferragu on Bloomberg Surveillance.
Space today is a lot of cash flow. It's very cash generative. The telecom business is generating a lot of cash. And if you have access to your own cash flow in AI, you can buy your own infrastructure. That makes it much cheaper for you. You don't have to pay a margin.
Let's keep the SpaceX conversation going. Nancy Tengler, CEO, CIO of Laffer Tengler Investments, an independent but historically bullish backer of Musk, of Tesla. Do you want to be buying SpaceX shares if they open at $150 as they're currently indicated to do so, Nancy?
Caroline, we are buying them at the open, and it's not my preferred way of trading. I'd much rather have gotten an allocation. We're using the analogy to Amazon's public IPO in 1997. It was a company that was impossible to value because there were no earnings, only revenues, and this feels a lot more like that than it does Meta. So we're interested in owning it in our thematic portfolio, which has a theme of space, and then also in our growth portfolio. So those are the options or those are the places where we are putting it.
Nancy, I wanted you to come on the program, and I'm just being so honest with the Bloomberg Tech audience, because you're one of these investors of Tesla that gets access to the company, right? I'm thinking about when you were at the Robotaxi launch event. Where do you stand? What is your thesis on the combination of SpaceX with Tesla?
Oh, yeah. So, Ed, I do believe that is going to happen. I mean, Tesla already owns shares in SpaceX through the XAI acquisition that SpaceX made. So it's about a $2 billion stake. It seems to me to be just the beginning. And already SpaceX is the most vertically integrated AI company. If you think about, they have the capital, they've got the data, they've got the large language models, they've got the hardware, the engineering talent, the manufacturing talent. So we think it makes imminent sense for them to combine with Tesla. And I don't know if it's in 2027 or early 2028, but I think you'll begin to see evidence of a tighter and tighter relationship as we move forward.
The public investor perspective, let's get the private investor perspective. Christian Garrett, 137 Ventures, is still with us. Do you think it makes strategic sense, at least, for Tesla and SpaceX to combine?
I think the businesses have obviously a lot of commonalities, a lot of shared projects. The TerraFab project being one example, and so obviously I think it's a great sort of discussion point to sort of theorize what would happen if these companies integrated together. I think they have a credible partnership as stands, and so in either scenario, I think it's super exciting the work that they're doing together. And were that to happen, it's exciting. If it doesn't happen, it's also exciting nonetheless. And both are obviously generational businesses.
We have live pictures from the NASDAQ. We believe that the trading of SpaceX in the United States is imminent. Something that we've been discussing throughout the hour, to be fair, for like days, Nancy Tengler, is if you just put to one side the vision of the future and the 26.5 trillion AI TAM, that SpaceX presented, how much does your team focus on the here and now of their data center business or neo cloud business that they've done with Anthropic and Google?
Yeah, I think it's important. And by the way, I loved what Christian just said. It's exciting either way. I also loved a headline on Bloomberg that said this company is cheap on a price to Cosmo ratio. So I think this is a name that is more of a narrative name for us than it is valuation. Our thematic portfolio does not focus on valuation. It focuses on, obviously, themes. And so I don't know how you quantify some of this. I think what's interesting is that the cash incinerator right now is AI, but that is, as you just pointed out, 26.5% of the TAM of 26.5 trillion of the 28.5 TAM. So I think you have to think about the data center business. It's what excites us to a great extent, but Starship, is required, as we know. I think they'll get there. I have no doubt they'll get there. It's just going
to be disappointed. How does that translate when we do start trading?
Everyone is disappointed. Let's just state it that way. Everyone, pretty much, for all intents and purposes, didn't get what they were hoping for. The big question now is, does that drive follow-through buying, or does it hurt people and they say, you know what, I'll just provide some liquidity, sell the stock, hopefully at a nice 10, 11% gain, and move on with my life? Because the big question when we do see these debuts is, where does it open? Do we see steady follow through to the upside, and how does the volatility play out? Are people holding on for massive gains, providing quick ins and outs, or is this something that we're going to be really
We know lockups expire in about August, so what happens to your holdings?
So us and alongside many of the investors who've been invested for a long time that are running institutional firms all have the same dynamic where we will distribute back to our LPs and let them make their own decisions. And within that, I think a lot of the articles that come out, which have been great, really highlighting how large a position SpaceX is for a lot of these institutional investors. And so, whether it's an endowment or a pension plan, whether it's, a friend or a family office or other different types of institutions, foundations, all of these folks are going to end up receiving that distribution of the stock, and then many of them are not going to be selling, right? Some may have liquidity needs, and I think that's a decision that each LP will make.
Something that you touched on earlier is critically important. We might get interrupted any moment, you know that, but there have been regular liquidity events for SpaceX staff and employees. There will be more than 4,000 millionaires minted at SpaceX from this transaction. They chose to stay. We've reported many of them tried to get more shares through the direct share program and otherwise. Speak to that. What does that signal to you?
So SpaceX really pioneered this staying private for longer trend.
Right.
Our firm started 2010, 2011, really on the heels of Facebook, which was the first one, and SpaceX really took it obviously to another level. One of the dynamics that they did in order to stay private longer was offer regular liquidity events to their employees. During that dynamic over almost 2 decades, employees have had ample time to get liquidity and cover different needs. And I think that's something that's underappreciated about the business, is not just the impact it had on the venture ecosystem, right? So much of what we're experiencing is because of how much capital is flooded in as companies stay private longer. But in particular, a lot of the employees have already had their chances of liquidity. And so, as Ed mentioned, a lot of these folks are long-term holders and are not selling as well.
We're getting excitement building from the floor of the NASDAQ as we await the opening trade of SpaceX, most recently indicated at $150, rating it at about a market capitalization, if you're looking at a fully diluted basis, of just under $2 trillion. That make it the 6th biggest company on the NASDAQ 100, just below Amazon, just above Broadcom. And Bailey, you've been talking about how integral this is to the retail investor. How much allocation did the retail investor get? How much are they going to pump up the stock?
We reported at 20%, so about $15 billion, which is a large number. Granted, as we had also reported, they put in orders for about $100 billion.
Right.
So again, a lot of people getting far less than they were expecting. And the big thing is going to be, again, are these individual investors going to show up in size? If you put in for $30,000 worth of stock, it's about $5,000. The fact that I would say the vast majority of individuals use market orders. They don't set the price, they buy wherever they can get filled.
Christian Garrett, 137 Ventures. Stay with us. Thank you both very much. SpaceX begins trading today under ticker SPCX. Indications $150 a share, 11% premium on the IPO price of $135. They raised $175 billion, largest IPO ever. The deal was so heavily oversubscribed, especially in the retail category, as Bailey outlined. Elon Musk promised loyal Tesla shareholders priority access to the SpaceX IPO for a long time. But did they get it? And how is Tesla's retail base reacting to SpaceX's listing? Alexandra Mertz, better known as Tesla Boomer Mama, one of Tesla's most prominent retail shareholders and investors that are active in the investor retail base, joins us now. My understanding is that you did not try and get an allocation in this IPO, that you won't try. Alex, stay put. Karen.
We have an opening trade. SpaceX opens at $150. That is an 11% increase on $135 pricing. Extraordinary day, Ed. You have followed this tick by tick, moment by moment, but we understand that an opening trade has come in at $150. Shares open for SpaceX. The NASDAQ crowd goes wild. There we are.
11% where the IPO price at 135. That's going to jump around. It's going to be a long few hours of trading. A market value of about $1.96 trillion, but on a fully diluted basis, just a touch above $2 trillion. I think we'll go live to the NASDAQ and Bloomberg's Yahira Anand. Yahira, what are you seeing?
Hi, the moment is here, and there it is. SpaceX has officially begun trading. The stock opening at $150 a share, above its $135 IPO price, giving investors an immediate gain, as you guys said, of 11%. That opening price now values the company at approximately less than $2 trillion, but instantly putting SpaceX among the most valuable companies in the world. So after a morning of shifting indications and intense anticipation with everyone here, from the president of SpaceX to the CFO, the market has finally delivered its first verdict on SpaceX. So now the focus will be whether those gains can hold as trading gets underway.
Bloomberg's Yahira Anand at the NASDAQ. SpaceX opened 11% above its IPO price of $135. You see on the screen, trading around $152, $53 per share, and on a fully diluted basis at a value of just a touch over $2 trillion. Let's keep the conversation going.